Now we're ready to start building templates, as we discussed before. We have our zone 1 element with a set of attributes that we want. And these are the same attributes we want all zones to have. So we'll see how we can convert this element to a template for all the zones. It's pretty easy to do. We just right-click on zone, go down to the convert menu, then to convert to template, select that. Now first we get this dialog telling us that some of our attributes, in particular the indoor temperature and the thermostat setting, use PyPoint data references. And as you can see, it's showing they point to these specific tags. It's just how we set them up. And it's saying, well, when we build this template, would you prefer to use a tag naming convention that uses this suggested substitution parameter scheme? So on the template side, our tag name would be something like you see here, the server name / and then the tag name built off of substitution parameters. So in this case, the tag name would be the name of the element, which would be zone 1, the name of the attribute, which would be indoor temperature in this case, and then finally it would be the unique ID of the element itself. And that's just done in case we have elements at various levels of the hierarchy that had the same name. So obviously that doesn't fit the tag naming convention for our existing tags. Our existing tags have this OSIsoft, HVAC, so on and so forth, ... PV. And so if we were going to do a name using substitution parameters, it would have to take into account the naming convention of our current tags. So rather than try to plug that in right now, I'm just going to stick with what we have currently for the template and let this suggestion go for now. And we can always fix that later through the template itself. So you don't see any real changes here, but if we go over to the General tab of the zone, we see that now it shows which template it's built off of, and that's the zone template. So I'll go ahead and check this work in. And now if I go to my library, and I go to element templates, you can see here that I now have a zone template underneath my element templates. So let's take a look at that. And you can see it has all the same attributes that we had for zone 1. If we go to the General tab, we see there's a generalized name, which is just zone template. We probably want to get rid of this description because it really only applies to zone 1, not to all zones. The base template is none because essentially this is the base template for the zone. We'll see later how we can use the concept of template inheritance to build a generic base template and then build more specific templates off that base template. Of course, like all the other objects in AF, we can add a category. So moving back to the attribute templates, we see again that our configuration strings for our different attributes were preserved in the template, including our formula and the way it's set up, and our same string builder data reference. Now, we'll talk a little bit again here. As you can see, the actual tag name from zone 1 was put here because in that dialog, that's how we chose it. So we'll see a bit later how we can come in here and use substitution parameters to generalize the tag naming scheme. So now that we have our zone template, let's see how we can use this to build out the rest of our zones. So first I'll go ahead and check this guy in, and then we'll jump back to our element view in the browser. And first way I'll show you how to do this is we can right click on our elements collection, select new element, and we'll do the zone template. And we have zone 2. So you can see everything looks correct except of course these tag names. If you remember from our tag list, the first number in a tag indicates which zone it's in. So here's all our temperatures. And we can see that for the indoor temperature, it's going to be T200 and 300, and T209 and 309 for the thermostat set points. So We don't necessarily have to go through the settings and look up the pi tag since we know it's just one number difference. We can go directly into the configuration string, change that one, and then we'll come down here and change this one, and check that in, and we're done. Now earlier I mentioned that we could copy and paste to create new elements. We can do the same thing if the elements are based on a template. So again, I can just go here and copy and paste. And now we have our zone 3. And we'll go ahead and update those two tags. Sure we check that in, and we can see that again our zone numbers are updated automatically, and therefore our areas get updated automatically as well. So now that we have our 3 zone elements built off of our zone template, I'd like to point out a few key features of elements built off of templates. Now earlier, when we were looking at ways not to do this, I built a zone 1 and a zone 2 element without using any templates, and we saw that I could go in and add attributes as much as I wanted to. But here, now that these elements are built off of our zone template, I go in here to the viewer and right click. I no longer have the option to add new attributes. And if I go in and look at, say, this pi point data reference attribute, you can see that the name and categories, description, all these fields up here are all grayed out. There's no way that I can make any changes to them. I can click in here all I want, but I can't make any alterations. Now you will notice that still in white are the data reference and the configuration for the data reference. Now that's in case one of your attributes that you have in the template gets its data from a different source for each different element, which is very likely to happen, such as in this case. We saw that even though our zone template specified that we use this T100 tag, when we actually built the elements, we came in here, and for zone 3 we used a T300 tag, and likewise for zone 2 we used a T200 tag. So essentially what we did was we came in and did a manual override on these attribute configurations, and so they no longer correspond to what's in our template. And that's fine, because we have to be able to get data from different sources.